Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. And as we continue our conversations this morning, we're talking about poultry farming. And to have that conversation, I have with me no other than Mr. Ricardo Alfred, who is the chairman of the Tobago Agro Business Development Company, TADCO. And this morning we're talking about poultry and contract farming. Now, last week we had a brief discussion virtually with you and your team right after you guys went before the after you guys went before the JSC. And one of the big projects that you guys are working on, I think it's $58.1 million dollars, is that mega farming project. So talk to us about how exactly that is structured for people to have a better understanding.
Right. So, right. So, good morning to all. Right. So, what is needed on the island is development. As most persons would know, that chicken is the cheapest form of protein. It's also one of the cheapest meat available for persons if they're buying meals or something like that. Just to put some numbers in perspective, globally, the world consumes 56 billion heads of chicken every year. Trinidad and Tobago is currently at 43 million chickens every year. Tobago is at 250,000 chickens per month. And that will increase because you know that school is open, you have a lot of more domestic tourism happening. So that number will increase. Just to give an idea as well of what is happening internationally, because persons are talking about the foreign chicken. When you purchase the foreign chicken, so that we put things in better perspective, at that foreign farm, the person who is doing the hatchery up there is already paid. The person who is mining the chicken is already paid. The transportation to get it to the processing in that country, they are already paid. When it is processed, they are paid. When it is shipped, the shipping fees are already paid. When it comes here, somebody is paid. I went to clear it and that type, and then it comes into the consumer hand. At no point, if we are speaking about development, we have to be able to grow the capacity right here on the island. Through the contract farming, we are able to do that. What we are doing is providing the inputs as relates to the chicken and the feed and the medicine, and so that the farmer will have a freer cash flow that he can now decide to expand and do different aspects of the farming. This farming poultry initiative definitely will open up different services that persons can get involved in. I mean, the people who are providing the transportation, the people who are providing the different equipments that needed for the poultry, the veterinary service is opening up. So there are different services that can be provided from this contract farming that can create a lot of jobs and development in the service sector. What we are saying as TADCO is that allow us to come in, you come in to us, we have a conversation related to poultry. If you have the land space and you have a little funds to spend in terms of developing a proper farm, we would give our team come in, they'll look at your farm, see what you need, and help you along the process. It's all about building a sustainable product right here in Tobago. Currently, TADCO is the largest supplier of local chicken in Tobago. And we are reaching out to the supermarkets, the hotels, the various restaurants in terms of supporting this initiative. We are building the sector by building the people. That is how you do development.
Right. Okay. And one of the things that I want to ask is how does this feed into the mega farm project? How
Right.
does the the poultry and contract farm initiative feed into the overall mega farm project?
Right. So what is needed is numbers. This is a numbers games. We need large outputs.
So when you say mega farm, I want to make it clear: are you talking about one huge farm, or is it a number of different farms in different locations in Tobago?
Right. So we are in conversations with certain companies that supply the chicks and stuff like that, and that company actually controls 51% of the market. They are willing to make an investment of $20 million into creating a project that could change the landscape in Tobago. And when I say change the landscape, add to the national food security. a product that comes from Tobago. Persons may not know, but all of the hatching eggs in the Trinidad and Tobago and some parts of the region are imported. If we can fill that gap, the input will definitely be better and better be able to assist those farmers. So by doing this mega, we are actually looking at building out this sector, actually looking at building a product right here from Tobago to feed into the National Food Security Initiative. That is the overall aim of it. So we are going to get persons who are going to have a larger holding, be able to hold a larger amount of chicks, and be able to feed into a system that is better be able to not just feed here, but looking at Trinidad and Tobago and maybe in the future regionally.
Right. But I want to have it clear in my mind as well what the mega farm is going to look like. Is it that we're going to drive into a property that is, let's say, for instance, 20 acres or like just a big piece of landmass that is dedicated particularly to different farmers coming in and rearing chickens? Or are we going to continue utilizing the space that that farmers already have in different areas of the island?
Right. So it's twofold, sir. You cannot leave out the smaller persons that are doing farming. You can't leave them out because they will be able to fill a gap somewhere. With this mega farm, because of some biosecurity, you may have some limited traffic because you have to be able to understand things like traceability if there's any contamination. So there will be some limiting in terms of persons' access. With this mega farm as well, yes, they're going to have persons building out in a massive way, but we're going to be utilizing the technology. So the new technology in terms of the pens, you have the tunnel farming. This would definitely be able to remove some of the odors and stuff like that. And the biosecurity is very stringent, and persons have to understand that this is necessary to understand to reduce diseases and any virus or any stuff like that. So there will be some restrictions. So there may not be some driving in and that type of arrangement.
Okay, like how you could go to that farm up there in Kendall and the different ones. Is there an area that you guys are currently proposing for this mega farm?
We are actually leaving it up to the division. The division have some land under their purview, and I'm guided by that. So we're going to have further conversations as relates to that, as to where exactly this will be.
Excellent. And I want to have a better understanding of the poultry contract farming initiative, because you would have mentioned earlier that if someone has the finances or they have the land mass and they can put together a proper farm, that you guys would be willing to invest the chickens there. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's 1,000 chickens that each farmer is going to get. Please explain that part.
Right. So initially, back in last year, I believe it was late September, we would have started the poultry project. It was very difficult to get 500 chicken because of collaborations now that we would have made in Trinidad by two major stakeholders across there. We're able to get the chicks at a really nice price, a price that the average person may not be able to get it for, and get the feed at a very nice reduced rate, because we buy in bulk. We would have started some person would have started with 100. They have now graduated into 2,000. And these are the kind of persons that we would want to invest in. I would want to pay very commendations to this guy, Putz. I believe he has a very good program. I think he's up to over 5,000 birds. There's a few others, Damian Stewart and some other persons. And these are the kind of persons and the kind of initiative that we have to help these people in terms of making the numbers, because it's all about the numbers. That's what it comes down to. So persons are graduating, persons are expanding, and this is what we want. This is the growth, this is the development, and this is how you build capacity. Let TADCO worry about the marketing aspect of it, in terms of getting it to the various persons, but let TADCO worry about that, and you just do what you do best.
Right. So, question. The distribution of chicks, is it based upon individual capacity of each farmer, or is there a strict number of chicks that each farmer who participates in the initiative gets?
So it's based on a calculation. Normally, if you have the virtual farming, I mean, the virtual pens, that's it's 0.75 to 1 square foot per chicken. If you're on the ground, it's 1 square foot per bird. So we work it out based on that calculation. You can't have the chicken with too much room because they would exercise and it would result in the pongs being less. You know what? So you have to be able to understand the calculation, and
Is that what they call free range chicks?
yes.
Okay.
But that's a different breed of chicken, huh?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all about pounds and it's all about numbers again. So persons are given chicken based on what they can do, and then with the help of Dr. Downs, who has been exceptionally in all our aspects. I mean, he provides very good reports and he provides a lot of advice, and it goes hand in hand with the division as well in terms of the collaboration. And I think we are doing pretty good so far in the poultry thing. We have some sales going on down at TADCO to get persons interested. I'm really appealing to persons who are involved in the agro processing. You know, there are different things that you can do further with the chicken. You can use come to us, have a conversation. If you can take some of the chicken and create another value added product to the chicken, maybe you could do pack seasoned chicken. Maybe you could do the same chicken nuggets. The wonderful food that we see that we go to the grocery and buy. I'm appealing to persons who are involved in this type of trade. Come into us, let's have a conversation. Let's see how best we can market this product further by adding further value to this product.
Right. And farmers who already have an active slash successful poultry farm, are they also given chicks, or is this only for farmers that are just starting out?
No, it's persons. We have persons who were doing chickens and they came onto the program, and we are assisting them. The aim is not to leave anyone behind. Once you come to us, we are going to assist you.
Right. And for the new farmers who are just entering into the industry, that you are giving, let's just say, 500 to 1,000 chicks. When we look at large scale poultry production, is that enough?
So let's compare domestically. The smallest farm in Trinidad maybe is about 10,000 on a cycle. I'm not saying that farmers are going to reach there now, but we have to look at this on a strategic way. So any strategic plan is normally 3 to 5 years to get the output that you want. So it's going to be a slow process. I believe that persons can do it. Persons are now building out. Poultry is a very, very time-consuming initiative. And most of the farmers in Tobago are mostly like part-time. So we are getting persons who are now going through the contracts. They're going to take loans. We are in conversation with ADB, and persons are now looking they see the benefit of it. So it's a step in the right direction, but it's a ladder. So every trader is going to be more production. Every trader is going to be more capacity. Every trader, somebody will have more birds doing. So it's a strategic way of getting what we want.
Excellent. And we're just going to take a quick break and we're going to come back with a lot more on this particular conversation. So, guys, we're going to see you pretty soon, right after this.
Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Welcome back, guys, to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. If you are just joining us, I have been speaking with Ricardo Alfred, who is the chairman of the Tobago Agro Business Development Company, TADCO, and we've been talking a bit about the poultry contract farming initiative. And as we round up this discussion, before I kind of touched briefly on the idea of free-range chickens. But there are a number of different variations of chicken that we see on the market. But what you guys are investing, I'm guessing, is one particular breed of chicken. So explain this to me. Is there variety in what is being offered? Is it that when it comes to variety, the farmers are responsible for bringing their other breeds of chicken into the conversation? Explain that for me.
Right. So globally, there are two types. There's the broilers and then there's layers. Layers are for table eggs and broilers are for meat that we eat. The parent stock of these birds, for the layers, you have things like the Rhode Island Red, and then for the broilers, you have things like cub and these type of birds. The initiative that we are looking at with the stakeholder in Trinidad really is to really understand that, hey, there's a market, there's a niche right there. all of the hatching eggs that goes into the hatchery are imported. All. Let me just make that clear. Years ago, a company in Trinidad used to do the breeding stock many years ago, but because of the availability of U.S. currency back then, they have all moved away from the parent stock, and more everybody started to import. But because of the lack of U.S. currency, the lack of trading between certain areas, and then you have persons kind of hoarding their hatching eggs to supply their country first, and then we get the Gregs after, if you want to call it that. But if we are able to bridge that gap, Tobago will be able now to not just supply Tobago, but supply Trinidad and maybe regionally, because we know we will be placed in a on a geographic location to be able to supply the Caribbean possibly. And this is the aim of development. So I was talking about the different services that would have arrived from poultry. You have the hatching eggs, the hatchery, the people that are mining the chicken, and then you have the processing plants, and then you have persons that add value to the chicken. Each one of these services have many different services that could definitely benefit an entrepreneur or persons who have a little more money to spend in terms of assisting these things. So there are different aspects that we can do. The aim is building the sector treader by treader already.
Okay, excellent. And when we talk about fostering healthy competition within the poultry industry here on the island, because you guys are investing so heavily in this initiative, and I'm, I don't want to say trying to put everybody on equal footing, but giving each person the opportunity to have the tools that they need to succeed. How then are we going to foster healthy competition? For instance, are some farmers encouraged to get into halal chicken? You know, how does one separate themselves within the industry? Even though TADCO is saying, okay, don't worry about the marketing aspect of it, we have that covered. How do you guys facilitate that type of healthy competition?
So that's a very good initiative question, actually. If persons have a proposal on how they could add further value to the chicken, we are going to have the conversation. Just the other day, I think they had this mango festival. I mean, you had mango fish, you are different. These are the kind of initiatives that we definitely want to push. It's all about development, and as a company is Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, the aim of this really is to assist and develop the sector. We are not going to, in the past you had down in TADCO, they are selling all these foreign chicken, cheese. TADCO is not a supermarket or it's not a parlor. Our aim is to develop the sector, and we are going to be helping persons in terms of, if you look at it, our display, you have persons doing different pepper, garlic sauce. This is what the company is about, And in the future, if we can offer wholesale and allow the retailers to do their retailing, that is the development there. So we are going to be working with persons. If persons have a project, I'm appealing to persons. If they have a project that they could add further value to the chicken, let's have a conversation.
Excellent. Thank you so much for clarifying that. But then my question is it that TADCO is going to be adding that value on the market, or they are going to market it differently to TADCO to separate themselves from their competition?
Right. So TADCO, we have to foster business. We also have to foster individuals and their development. So a conversation can be made if they want joint branding, if they want sole branding. We can have that type of arrangement, because the aim is not for TADCO to do everything, but it's to allow persons to do. We could sell the chicken to them at a reduced rate. We could give them different initiatives, there are so much things that we can do to assist them.
I'm happy to hear that. So that means that when we come down to TADCO, we can see chickens with different labels, not just the TADCO label. Only we can see those different labels and having variety, because
the aim is to allow the persons to develop, and I mean we can work out rates. Obviously, we do have salaries and stuff to pay. We also have to look at the business side of it as well. But the conversation can happen where, if persons are willing to take all the chicken and do whatever they want, I welcome that. That will help us,
All right, excellent. But how does one monitor quality in
Right.
productivity and
So
compliance with
so
that?
so this is why it must be a joint and collaborative effort. So far with the division, we have had a lot of collaborations with persons, and again, I must give kudos to Dr. Dongs again because he has introduced a level of competence. He has introduced a level of report on different stuff, and he has also gained some confidence with the farmers as well. As if they're having problems, they can call him. Traceability is very important. That biosecurity aspect of it must be documented. So we have field officers that will go out and check these things and ensure that these things are done optimally and correctly, because we do have some gaps. I must admit that we do have some issues because it's a project that we are trying to build out. But long term, looking at it, this is a perfect project that could definitely assist Tobago.
All right, excellent. And how has research and reports that have been done previously, let's say by the different school, the Kendall Farm School, the Farm School at Hope, how has these projects, these research projects and report fed into a number of the projects that are now being done at TADCO? Because we would hate to think that if, let's say, for instance, there is a change in regime again, that the efforts that are being put in now would just go to waste. So, in regards to what has been done previously with research, how has that research fed into what is being done today?
So research is very key. Part of the Joint Select Committee questions was a question about TARI, which is the Tobago Research Institute, that we want to instill. Data is very key. We have acquired a lot of data in terms of age group of persons, in terms of persons' land holdings, in terms of how many chickens they are doing, their capacity, their mortality rate. That data is so crucial that we are better able to have a lot of projections. We are better able to make some informed decisions. The secretary and the division will have, they will be better able to answer certain questions, and data is crucial. So we are working on the data because data is needed to drive the industry and to also execute certain outputs. So far I think we are poised with our data. I don't want to focus mostly on TADCO. It's not going to focus solely on the poultry. We are going to be dealing with certain aspects of the livestock industry as well. We had some training in collaboration with marketing, and I give a lot of kudos to the guys that came out from marketing division through Ms. Corbin and her team. They came out on a Sunday, and we had about 33 persons. They learned how to inspect a goat for slaughter. They look at the eyes, look at the feet, look at the, before to determine if it is ready for slaughter. We did that initial phase right up to the slaughtering part of it, examining the kidneys, examining different organs so that you are able to identify certain things. And this is the kind of training and the kind of collaboration that is needed to drive the sector. It's the same that we are trying to do with the crops. I know that we have had some contract farming with persons in the cassava because we really want to push that initiative. And it's a stepping process, but it's only so much that can be done over a period. I mean, strategically, any plan is 3 to 5 years. That is how you really execute what you are doing. But we are using all of the resources, whether it be from various divisions, to help us. And I think we are on the right track. It's just that we need to keep persons focused, and there are going to be some distractions, I call it. Just stay focused and keep the task in mind.
Excellent. And we want to shift gears a bit and talk a little bit about the development of the fishing sector. So, with the limited time that we have left, let us know what has been happening in this area.
Right. So fishing, there are a lot of persons who have gravitated now to fish. They're moving away from the meat and they're going to fish. However, in order to develop the fishing sector, you must be able to control the mediums that bring the fish. Pirogue fishing, in our time, in yesteryears, was sustainable. However, now you have persons wanting fish on a regular basis. The longline industry is able now to sustain that fishing industry. Through the capital of paradise, the guys are better trained now to go out there, get a large cadre of fish, various quantities, export the fish. You have persons that are making value-added products like this Chensia, who is doing smoked fish and other things. We want to welcome all of these persons who could add value to the fish. I am hoping that persons would now go down to TADCO and say they want to do fish nuggets or something. And I'm hoping that these are the kind of conversations that we need to start having. But we need to get persons not fully away from the pirogue fishing, but they have to expand themselves into the long line fishing to be able to go out there longer, catch a larger number of fish, and sustain the industry. The industry cannot be sustained by certain persons going out there for a couple hours and then coming back. You have to understand that fishing is an industry, and we have to go in that direction to keep it sustainable.
Right. And is this one of the things that the All Tobago Fisherfolk Association has been complaining about when we look at competition coming out of Barbados? Is that Barbados has the capabilities through their resources and the availability of the type of vessels that are needed to really go out there and pull in the type of, the numbers has that been a problem for the industry in Tobago?
Yeah, so we are in conversation with ADFA through Mr. Douglas. I know he's a very passionate person as relates to the fishing industry. You mentioned Barbados. Just to give you some record, Barbados imports 4 million pounds of fish every year. So there's a gap. Mm-hmm. Right? So this is how the longline industry, Trinidad and Tobago, is able to offer a cheaper fuel. Okay. Right? So if persons have, again, a little more money to spend, they are able to assist in filling that gap. Fuel is very expensive in Barbados, which allows persons not to go too far, and if they go, they have to team up to really. All right. So there's some collaboration that could happen.
Right, and as we wrap up, how are we equipping our fishermen to be able to sustain that longline fishing?
Right. So what needs to happen is that we have to have the conversations with the various associations. Get them understanding the different types of boats that are out there that they could use. Maybe try to attract a younger generation of fishermen. Understand that they have to understand the banking, they have to understand profit and loss, they have to understand creating a cash flow projections. But again, these are all part of the training aspect of it, and we are going to be ruling out some. I am in conversation with some banks in terms of assisting farmers and fishermen and getting them up and ready for them to understand the business side of it. I don't see them as fishermen, I don't see them as farmers, I see them as businessmen involved in the fishing trade or the agricultural trade. That's how I class them as.
Excellent. And we are out of time for this morning, but I saw that we have a question on Facebook where someone asked if it's only livestock that is going to be on the mega farm. So quickly answer that as we close off our guests.
No. We are going to be embracing technology. So you have things like the hydroponics, and there are quite a few persons who have did very well with that type of thing. So it's to engage them and see if they'll be willing to
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Guys, again, thank you for staying tuned to Tobago Updates. This was Good Morning Tobago, and I thank you so much for being here with me this morning, guys. Have a great day.